the first presidential debate between President Trump and Democratic nominee Joe Biden.
Wildfires continue to devastate the most well-known agricultural area, the wine country.
Broadcasting live from the University of North Texas, this is ntTV Nightly News.
For joining us on ntTV Nightly News. I'm Michael Matthews.
And I'm Naomi Sanchez. Last night's first presidential debate drew widespread criticism on the format and attitude of both President Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden. As CNN Jake Tapper said, it was a hot mess inside a dumpster fire inside a train wreck. ntTV's Blaine Tatum is here to give you a full rundown of the presidential debate. Blaine?
In times like these, it's nice to have an alternative to visiting a crowded voting booth. Applications are currently available if you wish to vote by mail. To see if you are eligible for a mail-in or absentee ballots, visit texas.gov. Denton County elections will also accept in-person applications before October 13th. The latest that voters are able to return to their ballots will be 7 p.m. on November 3rd. For more information on voting by mail in Denton County, visit votedenton.com. Back to you at the desk.
A major issue brought up during last night's debate was racial sensitivity training in the police force. With civil rights protests still ongoing for over 100 days straight, some police departments have started to seek out this training. The Denton Police Department has teamed up with the ABLE Project to provide a new training aimed to help officers step in to stop others' risky behaviors before something goes wrong. Denton PD was one of 30 departments chosen nationwide to participate in the training. The ABLE Project was founded at Georgetown University Innovative Policing Program in collaboration with Shepard Mullen LLP and is backed by prominent civil rights and law enforcement leaders. The project aims to provide police reform through effective peer intervention and harm prevention strategies. The Denton Police Department plans to have every employee, both sworn officers and civilians, to go through the training. The department also plans to share its training with other departments unable to join the ABLE Project.
I think that this program is going to enhance our ability to hold each other accountable because it provides expectations on the part of the officers to intervene and the expectation that we are brothers keepers. And I think it's going to help us nationwide.
The department has already started to put policies such as a strict anti-retaliation policy in officer wellness programs. Denton PD will start implementing these 8-hour programs next month and will provide a 2-hour refresher course every year.
Well, Michael, we're one day out from fall, yet the weather has been feeling like summer.
Let's see what our weather reporter Donald has in store this week.
Thanks, Naomi and Michael. It's definitely pretty hot outside, lots of sunshine and clear skies. Boy, I tell you, I just came from out there and I had to take off my jacket. Right now we're experiencing temperatures in the lower 90s, but it feels more like with wind speeds of 6 miles per hour, making it feel more like 87. Now, as we move into tonight, the temperatures are expected to get a little bit cooler with a temperature of 58 degrees, and it's going to be clear skies. Now, I'm not saying cut on your heaters, but I am saying you are going to need that extra blanket tonight. Tomorrow, we're expected to get some more sunshine with a temperature of 81 degrees and wind speeds of 10 miles per hour. That's it for the first look. Stay tuned for the full weather later in the show. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Donald. We have a clarification on a story we ran yesterday. Mackenzie has a College Inn with the update. Mackenzie?
Thanks, Naomi. Yesterday, hundreds of UNT students residing here at College Inn were told that they have to vacate their rooms by December 12th. UNT has released an official statement regarding the reason for this evacuation. In their statement, they said, "The decision to move residents from College Inn for the spring is based upon the impact COVID-19 has had on the housing occupancy rate. No other decisions have been made about the future of the residence hall. The residents at College Inn still have to make a critical decision on whether they will release themselves from the current housing contract or relocate to other housing options on campus. That's all I have for the clarification update. Now to you, Michael.
Thanks, Mackenzie. And while we're talking about viruses, everyone over the age of 6 months old should get a flu shot, according to the CDC. But many don't get the vaccine, even when there's no pandemic. And a new poll suggests that COVID-19 won't be changing that. CNN's Mandy Gaither tells us more.
It's not the first time you've been urged to get a flu shot.
You should get it no later than the end of October. If it's available now, you should get it now. But don't wait until any beyond October.
But with flu season colliding with COVID-19 and the virus is causing many similar symptoms, health officials are concerned about the strain on the healthcare system this fall and winter. They're urging Americans to get their flu shots like never before. Despite that, 1 in 3 parents may not get their child vaccinated for the flu, according to a CS Mott Children's Hospital poll of nearly 2,000 people. Those parents expressed concerns about side effects of the flu vaccine or said they believe the flu shot isn't necessary or effective. But the CDC says the single best way to prevent the flu is to get vaccinated each year. In comparison, 96% of parents who got their children vaccinated in 2019 said they intended to do the same this year. The CDC and other health officials say a flu shot during the pandemic is more important than ever.
Sometimes people wait because they feel, well, maybe the immunity will wane as we get into the winter. And then you wind up that flu comes and you're not protected and you wind up getting the flu.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The importance of that flu shot is greater this year. Texas health officials say it will help keep people out of hospitals while we are still fighting the coronavirus.
This is the most important flu shot you'll ever get.
The flu vaccine is readily available, and UNT students can get a flu shot at the Health and Wellness Center. You can also get the flu shot at county health department and local pharmacies. And if you want to watch the rest of this video, stay tuned. It will air in our upcoming commercial break. And if COVID-19 and the flu weren't enough to worry about, it's also West Nile virus season. Denton County is reporting the 4th human case of West Nile. The patient lives in Flower Mount. County health officials are asking everyone to help fight those mosquitoes by draining any standing water, wearing long sleeves and pants when you're outside at dusk or dawn, and use mosquito repellent.
When we come back, job losses in the airline industry and at one of the world's most famous entertainment companies. We have the details.
And an out-of-this-world look from the Hubble Space Telescope. You'll want to see this, so stay with us. some breaking news. A female student reported a sexual assault that occurred in Kerr Residence Hall between 4 and 5 this afternoon. ntPD sent out a campus-wide email notifying students and faculty about the assault and reported that the victim and the suspect had, quote, smoked an illegal drug together, which affected her ability to fully understand what was occurring. ntPD also stated in the email that these reports are made public to keep the campus community safe by sharing information about how perpetrators are potentially preying on victims.
The coronavirus pandemic isn't only affecting our health this year, it's also sweeping away jobs with it. Up to 46 million jobs could be lost due to the collapse in aviation caused by the pandemic. This comes from new research from the Air Transport Action Group, or ATAG. The group also suggests that air travel is not likely to recover back to normal until 2024. It's not just jobs in aviation at risk either. Another 26 million jobs could be lost in air travel related to tourism, and possibly 15 million more in companies that work with air transport or aviation industry workers. This economic activity could potentially lead the global GDP to a loss of $1.8 trillion. The ATAG is asking governments to do whatever they can to help the sector get back on its feet. And the happiest place on earth just became a nightmare for its employees. Yesterday, Disney announced that major layoffs are happening soon. Mandy Gaither has the story.
As the pandemic continues to pound businesses, Disney announces it's laying off 28,000 U.S. employees at its theme parks. The layoffs will hit the company's Parks, Experiences, and Products unit. 67% of those laid off will be part-time workers. In a statement, Disney's Josh D'Amaro said the difficult decision came in light of the prolonged impact of COVID-19 on our business, including limited capacity due to physical distancing requirements and the continued uncertainty regarding the duration of the pandemic, exacerbated in California by the state's unwillingness to lift restrictions that will allow Disneyland to reopen. D'Amaro says the company is talking with impacted employees as well as the unions on the next steps for union-represented cast members. Last week, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis lifted restrictions on restaurants and other businesses that would allow theme parks to reopen to full capacity in that state. But Walt Disney World decided not to ramp up to 100%, saying the park will continue to follow local requirements for face coverings and social distancing. For Consumer Watch, I'm Mandy Gaither.
California is still on fire, and there doesn't seem to be any sign that the flames are slowing down. Daryl Forges has an update on the record-shattering wildfire season.
Smoke billowing, fire torching the West Coast. The latest, the Glass Fire in Napa and Sonoma counties and the Zog Fire in Shasta County are raging out of control in the northern part of California since igniting on Sunday, bringing more distress to a fire season that has already produced 5 of the 6 largest wildfires in the state's history.
I looked back and the fire was coming over the mountain. I was on the phone with my son and I told him, I said, Skyhawk is doomed. They can't stop this fire.
Some evacuees lost everything.
12 vehicles, 2 cabins. It's been in my family for 105 years.
And it's gone?
Yep, all gone.
The Glass Fire has consumed more than 48,000 acres and destroyed dozens of buildings. It's only 2% contained. The Zog Fire is just 7% contained and has ravaged through over 50,000 acres. The fire has claimed the lives of 3 people, destroyed around 150 structures, and is threatening more than 1,500 more. Fire teams are working to keep the flames from moving north towards Santa Rosa.
We're going to be in this for a couple of weeks is my take on this, which means it's going to be kind of long and it's going to be painful for those that are dealing with it.
Both blazes giving firefighters a headache during an already tumultuous fire season that's still weeks away from its potential end. I'm Daryl Forges reporting.
Well, Michael, unfortunately, the weather in California must sure be hot with wildfire season going on.
Yes, Naomi. Now looking at a more local level, let's see what Donald has to tell us about the DFW area weather.
Thanks, guys. Temperatures are pretty warm as we look out across North Texas. Temperatures sitting in the upper 80s, and some cities are peaking in the lower 90s. Let's take a look at our temperatures across the state. It's going to be pretty warm across the state as well, with El Paso sitting at 86 and Amarillo sitting at 89. So temperatures are still in the upper 80 areas, and we're basically getting some of that sunshine, summertime weather in right now. Let's take a look at our 7-day forecast. Highs of 92 today and lows of 57. We're going to see that 57 roll on as we get closer into the night. Tomorrow we're back into the 80s with a high of 81 and a low of 48. And Fridays we're back to the mid 70s with a high of 76. And Saturday and Sundays and Monday and Tuesday we're sitting in the lower 80 areas, and then we're going to get those cold fronts in the middle of the night. That's it for the full weather. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Donald. Looking beyond the weather here on Earth, spirals seem to be in this season. The Hubble Space Telescope was able to capture an astonishing photo of a spiral galaxy about 60 million light years away from Earth. This photo is so clear that astronomers with the telescope made it their photo of the week. They say it took 9 hours of observation to get such a high resolution. Scientists say it's been a site of a supernova. That's when a star becomes so bright it explodes, lighting up the galaxy with its energy.
Stay tuned as we learn how to serve children with disabilities. And we take a look at UNT students that rose above adversity. Virtual learning is a new challenge for students with learning disabilities. ntTV's Maya Gaylor informs us how One Day Care is serving these children.
Stephanie Chamberlain is the curriculum coordinator at Maple Bear Preschool. Her son Michael also attends virtual preschool through Louisville ISD. He has difficulty learning.
He is not used to seeing me as the teacher. He's used to seeing me as mommy. Mommy plays with me. Mommy gives me what she wants. Now it's like, no, Michael, we have to do this. You have to sit down. You have to write the stuff. You have to count. You have to. So it's more strict. So that's the hardest part for him.
Isaac also attends Maple Bear and is enrolled in virtual pre-kindergarten through Louisville ISD. Isaac has autism.
It's definitely a challenge with the SPED population, just because there's so many things that they need to work on goal-wise that aren't really possible to do, virtual, like sharing, things like that we've really had to rethink how we work on those goals with them where we can still do it virtual.
Parents are expected to sit with their children during class. The virtual meetings are 30 minutes, and the rest of the learning is done as homework. Louisville ISD has provided tablets, school supplies, and help from teachers.
Good job, Michael.
Reporting for ntTV, I'm Maya Gaylor.
Some students began in-person class on September 8th, while others will have the option to remain virtual for the year.
While there are challenges of the mind, there are also challenges of the body. It's a story of overcoming adversity, and ntTV's Blake Wayland has more. Blake?
One of the many keys to being a successful athlete is the ability to rise in the face of adversity. Whether challenges arise on the court or in real life, one of our UNT student athletes has learned to be humbled by her objectives. Doctors diagnosed UNT senior Kaylee Scopel with Guillain-Barré syndrome in November of 2019. It's a rare autoimmune disease where the body immune system attacks the nerves. GBS has the potential to lead to paralysis. Though Scopel faced a tough road that entailed physical therapy and recovery, it made her realize how fortunate she was.
Your eyes that anything can be taken away in a second, and I mean, luckily I'm able to be back into it now. But sometimes there was a point in time where I really wasn't sure if that was it for me or if I was going to be able to move on and come back to playing. But I mean, it's just taught me to love the game even more.
You can catch Scopel and the Mean Green Lady volleyball team this spring when they start their season. It was postponed due to COVID-19. Back to you at the desk.
A great success story for Kaylee Scopel, and I'm looking forward to another successful volleyball season for the Mean Green.
So right, Michael, and for more sports updates, let's join Zach Fox. What are we looking at, Zach?
Everybody can make something, because I think everyone has a spark of creativity, and the reason that I
The recipients of the Texas Rangers 2020 Individual Awards were announced Tuesday night. Votes were made by Dallas-Fort Worth chapter of Baseball Writers Associations of America. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa was named Player of the Year, batting .280 with 3 home runs and 10 RBIs in 58 games this season. He led the team with 59 hits, 28 runs, and 16 multi-hit games. Rangers pitcher Lance Lynn was named Pitcher of the Year. Lynn finished with a 6-3 record and a 3.32 ERA over 13 starts. Lynn placed first in the American League with total innings with 84. Quality starts, he was tied for first with 10 and tied for fourth in wins. Although the Rangers are inactive this playoffs, next year's preparations starts now. 6.5 miles. That's what separates the gates to Denton Ryan High School and Denton Guyer High School. A rivalry between the Raiders and Wildcats face off Friday in a state and nationally ranked showdown at AT&T Stadium. Denton Ryan with a 47-24 victory last Friday against Martin, and Denton Guyer with a 56-33 win against Hebron. Currently, Guyer sits at number 5 in the state for 6A football. Denton Ryan sits at number 1 for Class 5A Division I. Denton Ryan with a 4-3 lead in the all-time matchup between the two squads, and Denton Guyer looks to tie things up Friday night at 7. Finally, the Mean Green with another premature bye week after 4 players tested positive for COVID-19 and had to cancel their 3rd game of the season against Houston. The Mean Green now gaze towards Saturday's matchup against the winless Southern Miss Golden Eagles. Eagles now 0-3, while the Mean Green perch at 1-1. UNT well-rested and fit to play after the positive test results and look to bounce back after the 65-35 loss at home 2 weeks prior. Southern Miss travels to Apogee Stadium Saturday and will kick off at 6:30. Michael and Nomi, back to you.
Beer and chocolate fans, prepare yourself. Youngleys and Hershey's are joining forces once again to make their chocolate porter. But for the first time, fans can enjoy the beer from the comfort of their own home. 2 brands released a draft version of the chocolatey beer in 2019. The specially brewed beer blends Youngling's dark porter with Hershey's chocolate caramel and malt for a smooth and yummy finish. The beer is only available in 22 states while supplies last, so you beer and chocolate lovers out there need to visit younglings.com to find a retailer near you before they sell out. So Michael, what do you think of that?
Well, Nomi, I'm not sure about chocolate beer, but I do have a story that is literally for the birds. It seems a zoo in England has a problem with foul-mouthed parrots. Instead of Polly wants a cracker, these 5-feathered friends are, well, swearing at visitors. One of the parrots taught the others to curse while they were all quarantined together. The zoo has since separated them and moved them away from children so they won't hear the profanity. Zoo officials are hoping the bad language birds learn a few manners. Nomi, what about that?
Well, I honestly think the zoo officials did the right thing by separating those naughty birds, but I wouldn't mind visiting them myself. Thanks for watching Nightly News.
Join us again tomorrow night at 6 here on North Texas Television.